What's up guys? In this episode I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace this valve cover gasket on a 2004 Audi TT 1.8 liter. So let's get started. What is up guys? Nick Nakai here, Let's Drift Media. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. If it's your first time here, please hit that subscribe button down below. So on today's episode, I'm going to be replacing a leaking valve cover gasket on this 2004 Audi TT. What's happening is the oil is leaking around the spark plug tubes, dripping down into the spark plugs, which actually started causing a misfire. So I was going to swap the spark plugs and I saw oil in there. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And also too, I'm actually going to put this video up a little bit early for you guys, or I'm at least try to get this video up Saturday morning, because Sunday, if you guys aren't doing anything, I'm going to be going to Willow Springs. They're having a vinyl belt at Horse Thief Mile, so Team Animal Style is going to be there. Oh! A bunch of other sick drivers that I don't even really know who's going. But there should be a lot of sick drivers, and I haven't been to a drift event in like at least 3 months, so it's been quite a while. I feel like I lost a lot of motivation for drifting because I haven't really gone to any drift events and I haven't really been around drifting. So really excited to go to this event. If you guys aren't doing anything, make it out to Rosamond and check it out. It should be a pop-in event. But let's get back to today's video. Alright, so under the hood, first thing you're going to want to do is remove these 3 little pop-up Phillips so you can pop this panel off, as well as this cover over here. So next, what you're going to want to do is take off this 10mm nut right here. I don't know what this thing's called, but we're just going to call it the box thing. Once you have the box thingy off, go ahead and get these 3 5mm Allens holding this little cover plate over cylinder 4 coil pack off. Once you have the cover plate off, you're going to want to remove the 4 coil packs. They're just little push types. Just push the back end and they should slide off. Be careful because they're probably brittle. Now once you have the coil pack connectors removed, you're just going to take off this 10mm nut and you should be able to move the harness out of the way, as well as 2 more clips on this side. Then what you're going to want to do is loosen this clamp to pull this hose that goes to the intake off, and as well as the one behind it. But just like that, that should be the only thing restricting you from removing the valve cover. You could also remove the coil packs. You could have done that earlier, but I'm just going to remove them now. So at this point, you can see the valve cover is almost ready for removal. It's going to be 2 clips, one on each side holding this cover to the valve cover. You're going to want to pop those off. And that should give you some free play, so you can pull the cover off. Once you're here, all you're going to do is remove these 9, I believe, 10mm bolts and nuts across the valve cover, and if I'm correct, this valve cover should pop right off from there. So I was correct, there's 9 nuts holding the valve cover in place. Once you're there, just stick a screwdriver in the side somewhere, give it a good little pry, and the valve cover should come free. Just like that. Now the only thing we need to do is weasel it out. Just like that, you have the valve cover off. Voila. This is the new gasket set right here. This gasket was not leaking on this vehicle. However, the spark plug gaskets, where the spark plug holes are, was leaking, and oil was actually leaking into the spark plugs. Here are the old spark plugs. You guys can see they're actually sitting outside now for a little bit, rolling around the dirt, but they were covered in oil. So at this point, you might as well just replace the plugs. Don't even bother throwing those old ones back in. So now all you gotta do is remove the old gaskets. Should just come up fairly easy. Then it's probably a good idea to just get a rag, spray with some brake clean, and wipe the surface where the valve cover gasket is going to be mating to. Also remove any old gasket material, because you are going to need to put a little bit of sealant on the new cover. Alright, so we got the cylinder head all cleaned up where the valve cover gasket's going to mate. Repair instructions do say to put silicone where the valve cover gasket sits on these four corners, wherever there's curvature, basically where it's not flat around the valve cover. So we have some Toyota silicone. I know this is not a Toyota, so I hope this works, but we're gonna put this around just to make sure it doesn't leak, and then put the new gasket on, slap it all together, and call it a day. Once you have the silicone gasket spread around the corners where it curves up, go ahead and lay the new gasket on, as well as the spark plug tube gasket on. Then you can set the valve cover back in place. So just make sure the valve cover sits in the grooves on the edges nice and tight, because there is that little half moon that sits down on this side by the timing chain. So you don't want to come back and do this again. So just make sure it's sitting in there good. And you should be good to throw the valve cover back on. That's basically it. Just let the silicone dry for a little bit, however much the whatever silicone you're using says. Start it up, make sure you have no leaks, and you should be good to go. Feel free to drop a comment, any other types of videos you guys would like to see. As you guys know, I cannot do my YouTube videos at work no more since I got into a little bit of trouble, so just trying to come up with new ideas, any little side jobs I'm doing, stuff like that. Figure I might as well document them and bring them to you guys so you guys can maybe learn a thing or two. So don't forget, tomorrow, Sunday morning, I think it's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Willow Spring Horse Thief Mile final bout. It's going to be a huge event. You don't want to miss it. If you like drifting, you into drifting, anything, you're going to want to be there. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to be going there by myself, so just going to be focusing on filming and stuff and having a good time, checking out some cool whips, cool drifting. Should be real sick. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace!